MotorWeek is made possible by Rock Auto and Tire Rack.
Just when everyone thought the drop-top sports car was dead and buried, last year saw the introduction of a trio of cars, all from Germany. The Mercedes-Benz SLK, the BMW Z3, and the Porsche Boxster. They've revitalized the roadster market and have become a must-have purchase for both serious drivers and the style-conscious. We naturally wondered how these Teutonic drop-tops would stack up in a head-to-head comparison. So we took to the streets and to the track to find out. Just as sport utility vehicles are today, in the 1950s and 60s, the two-seat rear-drive roadster was the car to own if you wanted to be considered ahead of the crowd. Our trio of Deutsche drop-tops display many classic roadster characteristics, but are also thoroughly modern. While they all wear German badges, are as individual as any Italian stallion. The most instantly recognizable of these machines has to be the Porsche Boxster. The first of a new generation of Porsche sports cars, it carries quite a few firsts under its striking 550 Spider-inspired skin. The most critical are in the engine bay. The new flat-six engine is water-cooled, and for the first time since the 914 was canceled in 1976, the engine is mounted ahead of the rear axle. Displacing 2.5 liters, it cranks out 201 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque, and feeds it through a 5-speed manual transmission, our choice, or Porsche's 5-speed Tiptronic automatic. While the whole 2,822-pound package, the lightest of our trio, rides on a typically capable McPherson strut suspension. The rest of the Boxster offers a fine selection of modern updates, such as the surprisingly roomy interior's very efficient dash, and a power-operated convertible top that folds neatly away beneath a flush-mounted tonneau cover. It's pure Porsche with a heavy dose of modern convenience, all for a price of $41,000. Not a 911, but not cheap either. But if you favor a front-engine configuration, then our Mercedes contender, the SLK 230, may be more up your alley. Looking like a diminutive twin of Mercedes' big SL-Class coupes, the SLK is actually based on the more compact C-Class platform, and departs further from the big SL's look with a chic two-tone interior laced with vintage chrome and stainless steel, as well as imitation carbon fiber. It's as much Beverly Hills as Stuttgart. But the clever folding steel hardtop leaves no doubt about where this car was engineered and makes the SLK the only true all-season convertible in our test. But size is not the biggest difference between the SLK and its larger siblings. The engine is. The SLK is powered by a 2.3-liter supercharged four-cylinder. This force-fed four may be tiny, but it pumps out 185 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. But unfortunately funnels power to the rear wheels through a 5-speed automatic transmission. No manual is available here. As if to compensate, Mercedes mounted its 3,036-pound weight, the heaviest of our trio, on a sophisticated multi-link suspension and gave it trick standard features like a sophisticated traction control system, all for a base price of $37,900. That undercuts the more Spartan Porsche by a healthy $3,000. Compared to its two opponents, however, the BMW Z3 2.8 is clearly the most faithful to the roadster tradition. A beefed-up version of last year's entertaining but woefully underpowered Z3 four-cylinder model, the American-built 2.8 is no svelte European coupe. With its widened flanks, hunched-over low-profile tires, and gaping front air intake, the Z3 2.8 looks quite the bruiser, and backs that look up with a big 2.8-liter straight-six crammed tightly under the hood. It makes 189 horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque. While power flow is regulated by either our car's 5-speed Getrag manual transmission or an optional 4-speed automatic, the interior is as purposeful as the drivetrain, offering drivers as businesslike a cockpit as that of any old MG or Alfa, though with a dose of the modern comfort and efficiency that today's BMW buyer expects. And with the expected choices as well. Buyers may choose either the standard manual soft top or an optional power assembly. It all weighs 2,844 pounds, placing it between the heavier Mercedes and the lighter Porsche. And it's suspended above the road by a front strut and rear trailing arm suspension. Cost? How about $36,470, which makes it the least expensive of our pricey little trio. But while price usually influences the decision of which car to buy, it's performance that is the ultimate authority in the sports car class. With that in mind, we hit the track, specifically the road course at Pennsylvania's Pocono International Raceway. First up was raw acceleration. Launching easily thanks to its excellent clutch feel, the Boxster posted a 0 to 60 time of 6.7 seconds. Next up was the BMW. It ran an even better 6.3 seconds to 60. Its inline six-cylinder strong bottom end pushing it hard off the line. But the surprise of the test was the Mercedes. It also delivered a 6.3 second time, despite having the smallest engine and the only automatic gearbox. Once into Pocono's curves, however, the Porsche quickly pushed its way to the front. Offering better balance than any rear-engined Porsche ever did, the mid-engined Boxster delighted our drivers with its nimble maneuvers and sharp steering. Boxster power is concentrated in a fairly narrow band above 4,000 RPM, which requires plenty of shifter work. But Porsche's lightest shifter in years and excellent clutch feel makes it easy to keep in the power band. And the sound of that engine running hard was delightful. The Z3, on the other hand, was all torque. Its big six launching it out of corners with minimal use of the gearbox, but it also received several black marks for its less comfortable driving position. Front plow was far more pronounced thanks to its front engine configuration, but its muscular, more demanding feel pleased many of our drivers who compared it to classic roadsters like the Triumph TR6. We honestly didn't expect the luxury-oriented SLK to hang in there with the Porsche and Bimmer on the racetrack. But once again, the little bends that could surprised us all. Its four-cylinder drivetrain lacked the outright punch of the larger sixes, while its weight and softer suspension produced lots of understeer. But its excellent steering feedback and rock-solid stability allowed us to work the tiny Mercedes almost as hard as its sportier opponents. We turned the wick down a bit for driving on public roads, but obtained similar results. Once again, the Boxster was the hands-down favorite for spirited driving. To be this forgiving, offer a relatively compliant ride, and still feel like a Porsche is no small feat. But the Z3 also had its fans. Its chuckable feel and brawny engine are what sports cars are all about, though a tendency to hop a bit over rough surfaces slowed it in bumpy corners. The SLK once again slightly trailed the others. Stability was less of a factor out here since we couldn't safely maintain the same high cornering speeds, and the automatic transmission was clearly a liability. But it's worth noting that almost all of our drivers chose its smooth, solid ride for long highway hauls. So in the end, who was the winner in this admittedly very subjective comparison? Well, if you've been paying attention, it's probably quite obvious that our staff's favorite was far and away the Porsche Boxster. Its remarkable handling, competition-grade powertrain, and striking styling, all in a package that's forgiving yet offers a true Porsche feel, makes it our undisputed number one. Close on its heels comes the BMW Z3 2.8. With its powerful new engine and retuned suspension, the 2.8 is light years ahead of its four-cylinder sibling. And while it lacks the outright nimbleness of the Porsche, its robust feel recalls that of the classic roadsters of yesterday. Lastly, but only by a nose, is the Mercedes SLK 230. Though handicapped by a small motor, an automatic transmission, and its obvious luxury orientation, the tough little Benz still delivered a sterling performance. It may not be a true sports car, but it delivers more sports car performance than any luxury ragtop has a right to. But that's our opinion. To form your own, you'll have to drive one or all of these exceptional roadsters yourself. But be warned, cars like this are addictive. And after hundreds of exciting testing miles, we didn't want to give them back. Once given up for dead, the drop-top roadster class has gained a new lease on life. And if car companies keep building machines like the Porsche Boxster, the BMW Z3 2.8, and the Mercedes-Benz SLK 230, we predict it will be a long and happy one.